Hey, how you doing? My name is Bidondi of TruthRadioShow.com, and I just want to reach out to all the students across the land. I mean, junior high, high school, college, grade school, whatever. There's a very important message that needs to be explained here. And first of all, I want to take a minute to, offer a moment of silence to those poor students who lost their lives due to mass shootings, and the teachers and staff as well. And God bless them, the families, and the victims. But the reason why I'm doing this video here for, and it's a very important message to all the students out there. Okay, you need to really understand what's going on. And I talk to students all the time, high school especially, high school and college, especially on those two levels. The majority of you already know you can't trust the mainstream media. You already know that. You already know the mainstream media lies. You already know you can't trust the government on most things. You already know this. And because, I talk to students of all grades and levels, and most of the students know damn well you can't trust the mainstream media or the government, or most stuff. So that being said, and I know a lot of you are outraged about the gun violence. I am too. I'm a gun owner, Second Amendment supporter, but I'm an independent constitutionalist. I'm not a Republican or Democrat. Basically, I'm one of you. I'm a regular, ordinary American citizen. But what they're doing in the schools, okay, a lot of the teachers, a lot of the politicians that come into your schools to teach us propaganda, they call it. Propaganda was a term used by Adolf Hitler in the Nazi Germany. Basically, they put propaganda videos out to teach them that the Jews were like rats, vile rats, and they taught their own people, hey, if you want us to keep you safe from Poland and everywhere else, we need to take your gun rights. And people gave up their gun rights. And all through the 1900s, gun control was inserted to many countries. And through the 1900s, this is right in your history books. You can do further research and see for yourself. Don't take my word for it. And I know students, especially, you're very smart and you do your own research. That's what I love about you, and that's why a lot of you are waking up against the mainstream media and the lies from our federal government. Now, I'm not anti-government, but I'm saying there's people in our government that do distort truth and push lies for propaganda. But anyway, if you do the research, right, in the 1900s alone, gun control has led to the deaths of hundreds of millions of innocent people. Hundreds of millions through the 1900s. Within that century, so many people died as a result of gun control. When every country told them, oh, we need to take your firearms, we'll keep you safe. And how many of those countries says, you know what, our government will never take over our land or kill us, that's mass democide, or take our civil liberties away? It'll never happen here. How many countries said that? Every one of them. That all said it would never happen here. And it did. The unthinkable happened. Mass democide, governments killing their own people. I mean, look at the people in South Africa. I mean, I interview people who lived in South Africa, old people who lived to bear witness that the entire family was killed by their own government when they turned over their firearms because they were defenseless. And I'm not sitting here to say uprise against your government, no. What I'm sitting here to explain to you, okay, and again, yes, we are very sympathetic to those poor kids, and this is the only reason why those kids died in those schools. Only reason why. And think about this, because I know you're smart kids, students, I should say. I know you're smart students, and you can think for yourselves. Unlike what they force feed you in school. So think about this, right? You're in the school right now. Put yourself in that scenario. You're in that school in Parkland or Sandy Hook and whatever. God forbid, this would ever happen. But you're in one of those schools, right? A mass shooter comes in. Some maniac with a gun. Now, you're going to tell me, right, that because you go through drills at school, right? So, when, you do go over to the drills, everybody ducks and covers and gets behind a desk and all that stuff. Are you honestly going to tell me that you feel safe doing that? And you honestly going to tell me that you're not going to fear for your lives? Think about that. Put yourself in that mindset for a minute. Now, think of those children that died over that stuff, okay? Now think how the roles would have been reversed if those teachers in Parkland and school staff and Sandy Hook, Connecticut, and the other school shootings, just think of what would happen if those those students or staff were armed. Would have Adam Lanza killed the 26 people in Sandy Hook? Would that maniac have killed the 17 people in Parkland Elementary? I mean, I think it's elementary, high school, I'm sorry. Would have happened? Absolutely. You know, absolutely not. Because you know you would have felt safe. And don't ask yourself this. And put yourself in that scenario. You're in a room. There's an active shooter in the school. Okay, you're in that classroom, scared for your life. Okay, knowing at any minute that guy can walk in that door in your classroom and take every one of you out. You put yourself in that scenario for a minute. Now think of this. Would you feel safer if your teacher was packing heat, and like that's a term that a lot of people use, or basically was armed, well trained and armed to defend you and all the rest of your classmates? And you had the janitors or security who were armed as well. Wouldn't you feel a lot safer? Because remember, 9/11, after 9/11, they fortified the airports, made them safer and everything else, and all the transportation stuff, so terrorists can't get into the country. So just think, why haven't they fortified your schools? But these same people, right? They're sitting there calling for strict gun control, brainwashing you to say, "Oh, guns are bad. Be fearful of guns." But you could do this for yourself, the research and history of this country, right? If you go back in time and look, schools actually taught gun safety. They actually taught students how to properly handle a weapon, the safety aspects of it, and learn to respect that. There were no mass shootings in schools. You know what I mean? And when there was an incident, it was dissolved right away because a teacher or somebody was armed. And I want you to do something else too. Go beyond this, okay? Again, I know you're great researchers. Do this, okay? Go on your computer, and I'm not saying conspiracy theory websites or YouTube videos. Go on your computer, research this for yourself. Every day, in the local, because you remember, you got local media and national media, okay? Every day, an armed citizen, not a cop, not a military, whatever, officer, but an armed citizen stops a mass shooting. They stop a crime. They stop a murder. They stop somebody from attacking their family. Every day. Home invasions stopped over mass because of the citizens armed. There was a mass small shooting attempt in Maine years back. Guess who stopped them? Armed citizens, because in Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire, they have constitutional carry. Every law-abiding citizen is allowed to carry a firearm without a permit. There's no crimes over there. There's no mass shootings there because people can defend themselves. Think about that for a minute. Now, here's one step further. Go to FBI.gov, look for yourself, look at the stats. Okay, you got to look at every state that has strict gun control. Compare them to the states that don't have gun control. Go ahead, do it for yourselves. Don't listen to me or anybody else. Do it for yourselves, and you're going to see that the states with strict gun control have the highest crime and murder rates in the country. Because criminals are running rampant. Who's going to stop them? Cops can't be everywhere. Look at Chicago. Right now, we're in the month of March. And over 358 shootings by criminals killing innocent people. Because people in Chicago, it's like pulling teeth for a law-abiding citizen to exercise the Second Amendment to defend themselves and their family. So we need to get the information out to all your friends and family as well. Because, and I'm sure some of your teachers have great hearts. And I'm not doubting that. And I'm sure your parents have great hearts. I'm not doubting that either. But a lot of these people are misled over propaganda. Because I don't know if you need to understand history to know the future. And remember, the key to the future is in the past. To know the past, you know the future. You know how to protect yourself from the future. Because Edmund Burke, he was one of our founding fathers. He was a lawyer. He quoted, "For those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it." Basically, you need to know history so you don't repeat it. And you're seeing all these countries that gave up their guns, their firearms, and their ways of protecting themselves. And look what happened to them. Mass democide, hundreds of millions dead over gun control. How many students have died in the last several years in school shootings because of gun control? And sure, Florida, because I know people use this against you. Florida, yes, is a very gun-friendly state, but Parkland High School, guess what it is? A gun-free zone. Every shooting, like the rural Colorado, and Colorado is a wicked gun-friendly place. But that movie theater that the shooter chose to shoot up, it was the only movie theater in Colorado that was a gun-free zone. You couldn't. Citizens are not allowed to go bring guns in there. That Texas shooting in the church there, the only church in Texas the science says that people are not allowed to bring firearms. That was per the pastor. You know, the pastor in the church ordered nobody could bring your firearms into the church. And look what happened. Mass shooting. And if it wasn't the police that saved them. It was armed citizens that lived next door that came in and saved the day, because that shoot had many more magazines. He was ready to butcher more people. And if it wasn't for that armed citizen doing his duty, he as a constitutional citizen, if he wasn't there, many more people would have died. And if those people were not church were armed, just think about it. You're in a church with your family, and some guy comes and shooting. Now just think, if your father was carrying a gun, right? You trust your father with your life, right? Your father's well-trained. He's got a firearm in him. So does your friends, parents, and everything else. They all got firearms, the pastor and all that. Now just think, somebody comes into your church to try to shoot it up. How many of our parents and all that got to turn around and drop him and save everybody's lives in there? Same thing in the classrooms. You get all the teachers and the staff with guns. Now somebody comes and shooting the place up. They're going to defend you. I mean, it's going to be little to no casualties because people are going to be able to defend you. And when you get old enough as age, you will have the right to defend yourself as well. And I encourage you that, and don't let people trick you about the NRA. And again, I don't fall for Republican, Democrat stuff. I'm independent. But the NRA, they only teach firearm safety courses. That's all they do. They fight for the Second Amendment. And I know they get blamed for a lot of stuff, but nope, they had nothing to do with those mass shootings. And there's many other gun organizations besides the NRA that protect the Second Amendment. But I encourage you to go on YouTube. You can watch gun safety classes as well. Look up Camp Constitution in Massachusetts, where a man named Hal Shetlet, he teaches the Constitution for a whole week and the importance of it. Just type it in Google, you'll find it, and I'll try to put the link in the video here. But anyway, education is the most powerful thing, because what they're doing is they're distorting the truth, watering down the history books, lying about George Washington to make him look like a madman in some places. But if you study their own books, go read their own books. I encourage you, please. Go to, you probably won't find these in some of the libraries, but you have to order these online, or the Library of Congress, whatever. Go read the books from George Washington, Thomas Paine, Paul Revere, all these people, that all the founding fathers. Go read their own writings, their own books, their quotes. They'll explain to you and tell you vividly how important it is, because they've seen the future, what would happen. They've seen how, back then in the 1700s, how the monarchy systems worked, and how they used gun control at the time. And again, yeah, gun control was around back then. And don't let these people fool you. Don't let them say there was no rapid-fire guns back in the 1700s. There was just muskets. No, that's not true. You do the research, you'll find out for yourself. There was many rapid-fire guns that the British used. But what I'm trying to explain to you here is do your own history. Don't take my word for any of this. I want you to do your own history. And as the youth and you people are the leaders, the next generation of this country. And you need to understand this. Benjamin Franklin quoted this, okay? For anyone that would give up their civil liberties to obtain any kind of security, you got to get or deserve neither. Because once you give those liberties up, that's it. You know, the United States is the last vestige of hope and freedom and prosperity for the entire world. Once the Founding Fathers have warned us, recent presidents have warned us. John F. Kennedy has warned us about not giving up our firearms, our Second Amendment. So does President Ronald Reagan. They've warned us about this. That people, communists from other countries and globalist people would come into our country, pose as politicians, claiming they care about your safety in your schools, claiming we're going to teach you education on how we need to get rid of firearms. These people don't care about you, okay? Do the research. These same people that claim this stuff, they're the same kind of people that killed hundreds of millions of people throughout the 1900s. Do your own history and research. And I can't express enough, okay, how important that is. And I don't mean to keep much time because I know you guys got a lot of stuff to do, busy schedules and everything else. But please, spread this video to all your friends and do your own history. And if I'm wrong, which I'm not because history shows it, you send me, I'll put my contact information. Any one of you students at all could get hold of me. I'll talk to you, whatever you want me to do. I'll come to your class or something, and it depends on how far you live, whatever. But I'll come and meet with you and your friends, and we'll sit down and discuss things, and I'll show you firsthand in historical books and everything else, everything you need to know about how important you You have your right to defend yourself. And the number one reason the Second Amendment was created for, it's not just for duck hunting, not just for home defense, but to protect ourselves against a government. If they one day were to become tyrannical, we the people would have the power to defend ourselves against a tyrannical government. If one day, God forbid, that was to happen. But again, we have people, globalists, who hijacked certain political seats, even down to the local state senators and state reps, all the way to governors, to congressmen in Washington and all that, and senators in Washington, who hijacked these seats to push a globalist, communist propaganda. And if you go read the Communist Manifesto, it was devised in the 1900s, how to overthrow republic governments, okay? Constitutionalist republic governments is to institute gun control. You take the guns away, people are defenseless, now you own them. And who's going to stop them? Because now they're the only ones with the guns. So this is very important, you need to know. And I know with my heart and soul that each and every one of you, right now you're being force-fed. What they're doing is using fear-mongering tactics to scare the hell out of you. Oh, you need to fight against the guns. We need to march, go out and march against those guns. They're scaring the hell out of you. And I don't blame you. You're afraid. And as a student, I'd be afraid too. I went to high school. I graduated. I knew how it was. I went in a bad area too. So I know how that fear was. But think about it again. When you feel more safe and known that your parents, that you trust with your life, your good teachers, and or staff and somebody in the school had a firearm to protect you against any of those criminals coming into school. And the other thing too, if a criminal knows that a lot of people in that school are armed, 99% of the chance he's not going to even attempt it, even with 3-4 people. Yeah, and use common sense. I mean, you guys are great, you're smart, and God bless every one of you. You're the future of this country. And remember, if you let these people brainwash you like this, I mean, stop forging your chains. That's all I have to say. And God bless you. Love you all. And, we need to pray for this republic, this constitutional republic. That's what it is. And we need to keep this country strong. And the American people coming up into this new generation here, it all depends on you. I'm going to be 45 years old, and my generation's starting to fade away. But it's up to you. My son, he's under 10 years old. And it's you, the next generation, who's going to protect and preserve this country. The great sacrifices our founding fathers made in the Revolutionary War, go study them and see what they were about. See, the Rhode Island here, they were the first in the country to declare its independence against Germany. I'm sorry, Britain. I talk too much, but anyway, they were the first in the country to declare its independence against the crown in Britain there. So because Britain, they wanted to enforce gun safety, gun control. In other words, nobody could have the guns but the British. That's what started the King Philip War. If you research that, you'll know what I'm talking about. Right here in New England. But they wanted to enforce strict gun control, force a state religion down our throats, and taxation without representation. Rhode Island was the first to take action. Yeah, we had the first shot heard around the world in Lexington, Concord, Massachusetts. The first shot heard around the world. Where, you all know who Paul Revere is and Captain John Parker. But that all took place here in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, for a reason, because we wanted to be a free people. And now, once again, we're threatened. Not only were enemies foreign, now domestically, as I said, people hijacked parts of our government to institute and force tyrannical, draconian gun laws that would disable you, your parents, and your friends and neighbors from defending themselves against criminals and their own, our own government, if that was ever to become tyrannical, God forbid. But anyway, guys, reached about 20 minutes here, and you can reach me at Dan Bidondi on Twitter, or truthradioshow.com, and you go down on the bottom of the page. All my contact information is there. Phone number, email, everything else. And teachers too. If you need to get a hold of me, students too, I'll come to you. If you if you live in the New England area, I'll come to you. We can meet with all your friends and everything. I'll come to you and I'll show you proof beyond a shadow of a doubt. And because you are the resistance, you are the future of this country. Don't let these people force-fed you with brainwashing, lying propaganda to make you think you have to be afraid of guns. No. Remember, think of this too. Remember, think of yourself as an adult, okay? You're an adult now. You're 21 years old. Now, think of yourself. Who do you trust? Just say gun control took complete control here. Nobody has guns. Criminals are still going to have guns. You know that. They don't follow the laws. That's why they're criminals. So when you feel safer with a gun, knowing you could defend your students if you become a teacher, or your family if you become a father or a mother, when you feel safer knowing you could defend your house or your school or your church, when you feel a lot safer knowing you're well trained and you have the ability to defend yourselves and your children, just think about that. Put yourself in that scenario and all the scenarios I talked about. And again, challenge this information. Do the research for yourself. Don't listen to me. Especially don't listen to those people who pour in useless propaganda against you, and because it's an attack on you. They're using you as pawns to try to push their communist propaganda. And again, hit me up at Twitter at Dan Bidondi, TruthRadioShow.com. God bless each and every one of you.